Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Money Date. My name is Anna, and I'm excited to be here. Yes, a little bit of upbeat music playing in the background. It is that kind of Wednesday, but I want to talk to you about how have you done so far with your financial goals. We're 2 months left in 2018, and I had a hell of a day, so I need to be standing on my feet. Hi, Katrina. Good to have you here. A little dancing party in my office is what I'm actually looking for, as I was sitting on my butt the whole day. Sorry about that. Something is on my screen and I can't see you. Oh, there you go. And yes, thanks for watching. So as you guys hop on, hopefully you are ready to discuss with yourself, right, and give yourself a little review of how you've done for 2018 so far. There's 2 months left. Let me just make sure that you can actually hear me with this music playing. But I do want to dance actually, and I'll tell you, stay on for a little while. I'll tell you what's going on. So I want to make sure that you're staying on track with your goals. There's 2 more months left this year, and we need to keep the focus strong. So I thought that I'd pop in today and actually go through with you and discuss a review of what your financial goals, and remind you, right? Because hopefully you've been working all year towards those goals that you set at the beginning of the calendar year. So before we get into that, let's talk about the real stuff, the real deal of why Money Date exists. It's almost 2 years since I've been coming here to talk to you about you needing to pay attention. Hi, Leslie, good to have you here. You needing to pay attention to your finances. And the number one reason you do that is so that you can actually stay on track with your goals, okay? This is how this whole stuff, hi Soraya, good to have you here. Unfortunately, my background is not as fun this week as it was last week, because I was in Maui enjoying a beautiful view. Today I'm kind of stuck in my office. I had an auditor here the whole day, so I am excited that they're gone until tomorrow. They're coming back tomorrow and Friday for more stuff. So just thought I'd play some upbeat music because I need it. So my friends, Money Date exists because I want to stay on the top of reminding you that you've got to keep track of where your spending has been for the week. I probably don't want to look at mine because you and I just came back from vacation, but it was planned. How have you been so far with the income, and how are you tracking for your savings goals? Now, we're going to talk about reviewing your overall financial goals for the year, but those little tidbits fall into place every week. And so when you now, right, hopefully you've been doing it for the entire year, you sit down and you look at your financial picture, it looks very different than from you used to actually think about. And a lot of your financial goals now have actually hopefully been attained. So I am gonna turn down this music as much as I want to play it so that I can pay attention to you guys. By the way, do you like my newly restacked shelf? This is something new that I learned. Hi, Mackenzie. You see how it's organized by color? Hopefully you like it, but there's something to that where you organize. First of all, I have a lot of books. I'm gonna take some home, but there's something about organizing it in this kind of fashion. I don't know what it is. Cynthia is the one who did it, so I'll have to actually catch on to why, but I think it's just better for your eyes when you look in, because otherwise, before, my stuff was all over the place. My books were really organized more by topic as opposed to color. So, all right, my friends. At the beginning, I'm gonna put a link into this episode from January 1, 2018, an episode I recorded about setting your financial goals. So I want to give you a quick review, and then we're going to discuss some of the things that I want you to get on the top of. You have 2 months, right? Anything is possible if you can put your focus onto it. So even in the next 2 months for the remainder of the year, you can focus on getting your goals done. So at the beginning of 2018, we discussed about what is the proper way of set goals. And if you recall, I talked about this kind of outline. So hopefully you can see it, right? So this outline here it is something that I've learned from one of my mentors, Grant Cardone. It is an outline that has 7 different columns, right? So just take a sheet of paper, write down, across 7 different columns, and at the top each of these different headings, and I'll read you what they say. So you can shorten it or expand it any way you feel like will work for you. Hi Sabina, good to have you here. In terms of the areas you're trying to work on. But here are some of the typical and popular ones that I use, and I've seen other people use as well. So number 1 is your income. So what is your goal for the income, right? Number 2 is your wealth. Well, what kind of targets are you going to have for yourself, right? And hopefully you set that target. How do you want to look? Everybody has a goal of losing some weight and looking in some form of shape. So what is your physical goal? How about spiritual? What about your family? What about recreational? How many vacations or trips you're going to take? And then the last one is professional. So having an outline like this and actually stating where you want to be throughout the year, and right, and what are your goals, is something that we talked about at the beginning. Hi Ryan, good to have you here. Now, what I want to review with you today are the first 2 columns, right? Because there's a lot more to talk about the rest of your life, and since this is a financial show, I want to focus on the first 2. So the first 2 columns are income and wealth. So I'm going to just fold this sheet in half just to kind of make sure it fits on my screen. So income and wealth. So I want you to sit down and get real with yourself, okay? Yes, some of you have paychecks that you are getting. Some of you are business owners and you hustling, maybe have multiples of income. So be real with yourself. What was the goal that you set for yourself at the beginning of the year? And now we're 10 months into it. How are you tracking with that? Okay? Now, does that match up to what you actually expected yourself to do? If it doesn't, 2 months left to go. Could you get some side hustles to make sure that you staying true to yourself in the number 1 category that everybody should have on their list, which is reaching a certain amount of income, right? And I see this all the time. So many of us just miss that one simple thing. But do you know what it comes down to? It's really simple. It comes down to having a target. That's why I want you to list it. Put it on your wall, however you want to do it. Having a target and then focusing and working towards that target, okay? Now, we're talking about financial goals today. So income, right? Making a certain income is one of those goals, but it is not the only goal. Hi, Alice. Good to have you here. Now, if we focus more on what's known to most of us as like a wealth category, it incorporates a lot of different things. And so when I sit down with clients to identify what their goals are, right, everything comes down to financial goals. Hi Karen, good to have you here. Hi Alice, thanks for hopping on. Awesome to have you ladies here. Thank you for watching. Drop a comment in the chat, let me know you're here. Otherwise, I don't know if you watched. Appreciate you coming on. So the kind of goals that I want you to remind, and perhaps you're watching this and you're thinking, oh my God, Anna, I don't even know if I have financial goals. And that's okay, right? Give yourself a break, because hopefully after today's discussion, you're gonna figure out or start figuring out what your financial goals are. And here's a difference of what a goal is, right? Maybe a life goal versus a goal that has a financial attached to it, right? A number, a target. That really is the difference. So something you want to do versus something you want to do, plus how much money is going to take and when are you going to accomplish, right? So here are some examples. Retirement is the number 1 goal on everybody's list, but it's very vague when you say I want to retire at age 55. Right? It's not specific. So you need to get down to the granular specific details. I want to retire when I'm 55. I need to have a budget of $100,000 to live on every year until I'm 100 years old. Well, there, right? That becomes a very different kind of goal. And so yes, there's a lot more work that goes into that to figure out what do you have to have in terms of income streams, in terms of your assets. But at least now you have something concrete. Buying a house is a goal, so identifying how much you can spend on it. what the mortgage will be. You see, you gotta get very specific, because if these goals are vague, you never gonna work towards accomplishing them. So remind yourself, right? Sit down and take a look at, discuss this with your family, right? Discuss this with your partner and see what's going on. Hi guys, hi Jeff, hi Ben, good to have you here. So concrete, specifically identified financial goals that have a real number backed them, right? And specific dates. I know those things could change, but believe me, those things work so well when you have a pipeline of things that you're focusing on. So as I'm going through my column over here, right? So first we kind of cleared what our income is. We all have that, right? Or at least we go to work every day, right, to make a paycheck, but a lot of us aren't connecting the dots that there needs to be a target set for ourselves. So in the category of where you have clearly or working on identifying your goals, sit down and take a look. What have you done, right? How has it worked for you so far? And so, for example, a couple of things that I want you to track. And this comes down to staying on top of this on a weekly basis, and when I remind you what we talk about during money dates. But if you haven't done this, figure out how much money have you saved so far for 2018, okay? Take a look at your pay stubs, take a look at your savings account. What was the balance on January 1? What is the balance on October 31st? 2018. How has that grown, right? The second piece is how much return have you actually gotten, right? If it's a savings account or an investment account, we're not going to get into the details of discussing what the stock market does and how it goes up and down. None of that matters. I want you to be focused on what you have done to make sure that you're going to hit a specific target. Now, if you did not know how to do this or weren't focused on it for the first 10 months of the year, this is your chance to reset that point, right? Because what I want to accomplish with you is that when January 1 comes next year, you looking at this a whole different angle, right? Because we tend to stress out a whole lot in January saying, oh my God, I'm gonna set these resolutions, right? For the next year, I'm gonna be good, I'm gonna do all of these things. Nah, you know they don't work. They really don't, right? That's why I'm coming back to looking at these goals for you, reminding you to do this, and for myself, right? How have I done in all of these categories? To be honest, I did suck in some of these because my focus was not there, but other categories actually get all the checks and points for me. So we know how much, what our target was for the savings goal. That's why I keep reminding you every week, what are you staying on track with that? Have you, so what kind of returns, by how much did your investments actually, or savings, grow? And what else, right? And number three, if there's something else that you had in terms of starting a business, buying a business, right? You know, having another side hustle kind of a situation right on the side where you can grow your wealth, right? Pay off your debt. Whatever those goals that you had that relate to your finances, I want you to sit down and go through them. And by the end of this week, so hopefully, right, it's early November. By the end of this week, I want you to set up specific, measurable, right, steps you're going to take in the next couple of weeks before we get into the holiday season, so that you can actually start refocusing. You may not come close to reaching your goals this year, and that's okay, right? I wish that you could, but at least, right, because it takes, hi Greg, good to have you here. It takes a little bit of time. Hi Sally, good to have you here. It takes a little bit of time for us to get going. So identify, revisit, right? And revisit one more time, and then one more time, and one more time. And when it becomes sort of a habit, right? And you think of it the way that I think of it in terms of a weekly, right? Hi Ben, good to have you here. So that way, when you sit down and you pull your goals, right? And you look at it and you say, wow, I actually have something that I can show for. And at the end of the year, when you get to sit down and give yourself a grade, right? Whether it's some kind of reward, right? However you want to grade yourself, you actually have accomplishments. One of the things that, and I'll talk about this in the future money dates, but one of the things Yuri and I do every year, so right around maybe the last week in December, we sit down and figure out if we find a really nice place we want to have dinner at. So it's not just a money date, right, as you would think, just going out for drinks and dinner, but it's actually a really workable money date. And both of us have to prepare in terms of sitting down, looking at this, right? I'm not discussing this with you just because I like it, or, you know, it's something that's like, hey, it's a cool thing to do. I'm discussing this with you because I get to do this. And so each of us prepare a report that talks about here's what we set for ourselves as targets. Here's how, you know, our accomplishments are so far, and here's what we're going. It is a pretty fun thing to do. We've been doing it for about 10 years now, every year right around New Year's. So it becomes sort of a tradition. But I was thinking about that, asking Yuri the other day, so where do you want to go? Because if we want to find a cool place, we need to make reservations ahead of time, especially in San Francisco, because there are just a ton of places and the good ones go pretty quick. But I started to worry that some of these categories, right? That's why I'm actually talking about this with you today. Some of these categories I'm yet to do work. And so I have time, and my reminder for you today is that you have time. So don't let these goals slide by. Like, don't, because those are the things that keep you going, right? Maybe you set your targets too far. Maybe you set your targets too high. Hi, Lisa. Good to have you here. It doesn't matter. What matters is how hard and how fast you're pushing towards those goals. So I'm going to link the episode from earlier this year talking about specifically this kind of a model in setting your financial goals. Take a look. I found it really helpful. But in closing for today, I want to share a quote with you. And so it's by Ted Turner, and it says the following: you should set your goals high, that high, so that you have something to strive for. Be hungry and be humble. So thanks, my friends, for watching. I am exhausted for the day. It's been one of those days. It's no fun. So my financial planner friends, you probably can sympathize with me when you have auditors in your office the whole day. It feels like, even though I had no client meetings, it just feels like I've been through a fire, and 2 more days of that. So I am looking forward to seeing you all next week. That is actually my money win, is that I survived my first day of financial audit for my business. So yes, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. We're doing fine. There's nothing for us to hide. So come on over. And actually, the auditor is is a very nice lady. So I just gotta show her all the stuff that we have going on. So thanks, Alice. Have a good night. Good to have you here. All right, guys, go get your goals, right? Go after them, because nobody else will. All right. Thanks so much. Mwah. Good night.